Faced now with a historic industrial action by nurses, midwives and psychiatric nurses, isn't it time to repeal FEMPI and to recognise that at a time when rents, housing are increasing by 15% per annum, when there's record tax receipts and corporation taxes, and we're in economic recovery, that it's now your ideological opposition to workers of all kinds, public sector workers, having any increase in their living standards that is about to plunge us into this action. And you say we can't afford to pay nurses, or teachers, by the way. 2 out of 3 of their unions have also said they're going to take strike action. That the country could be plunged into further chaos because of yourselves. The nurses' action is completely just. It's a completely different era now to 10 years ago, and they've suffered 10 years of austerity, and they're not willing, and neither should they, be willing to do it any longer.
Precisely because of our support for public servants and our recognition of the immense work they do in our hospitals, in our classrooms, in our Garda stations, that the process in relation to the repeal of FEMPI is already well underway. We're in our 2nd year of a wage agreement with our public servants that looks to undo the FEMPI legislation that was a result of the economic crisis. And in fact, this month alone, the first change in the 2nd year of that agreement comes into effect. In relation to the challenge that we have, that Deputy Coppinger has raised in relation to the potential for industrial action in our hospitals, as I have said about every other public servant, we greatly value and we all appreciate the huge work that our nurses do in our hospitals. And a meeting is taking place today between the nurses and the Health Service Executive in relation to the potential for industrial action. A further engagement will take place on Friday between the nursing unions and the Public Service Stability Oversight Committee, where all unions will be present to engage in the matter. But the challenge we have, Count Corla, is any movement and any change in our wage bill for this year, every other public servant will expect the same. And we have a need to be fair to everybody in protecting a wage agreement, which also allows us to make progress on many of the priorities that are raised by members every day in this House.
Thank you, Minister.